You're listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show, where wealth is empowering, purpose is crucial, and high vibes are non-negotiable. And now, here's your host, certified business coach and practical woo strategist, Sarah J. Loureiro.
Hello, my loves. Welcome back to another episode of the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. I wanted to talk about growth today. Growth and pushing past your fears in order to uplevel. We're going to be talking about embodiment. We're going to be talking about discomfort here, but not just the traditional way that people talk about life begins outside of your comfort zone. I feel like that is just so overplayed, and I don't think that that actually goes deep enough into what it really takes to own a very big business online. And in specific, for me, I'm going to be sharing what it took for me to reach 6 figures a year and then consistently reach multiple 6 figures a year. And there's a lot of discomfort there. There is a lot of discomfort. And one thing that I always share with my clients, especially I have a client right now who is kind of teetery-tottering on her first 6-figure year, which is so exciting for her. But we're doing a lot of internal reprogramming. A lot of our sessions are actually, you wouldn't even think that they have anything to do with business, but they absolutely do. Because she is becoming the best version of herself, and she is really rising into her role as a leader. And a part of her role as a leader isn't just addressing the stuff that's going on in business. It's also addressing the stuff that's going on outside of business. Because the way that we do one thing is the way that we do everything. And I find it really interesting when we see so much about growth and personal development. We want to become the best versions of ourselves and we're going to up-level. It's this romanticized idea that it's going to be something that's so fun and so exciting. But the reality is that it is really hard. And sometimes it is not fun and exciting at all. Sometimes it is just crying. And just sitting there crying with your coach or crying with your mentor or crying with your significant other and realizing things about yourself that you don't want to carry anymore, and realizing how long you've been carrying those things, and understanding that the way that you're going to grow is by really letting go of your ego. And for so many of us, our egos are just such a happy, fun place for us to be. It's such a safe and secure place for us to be. And when we need to let go of the ego in many different circumstances, it's hard. It's really painful. And it is not something that's all rainbows and butterflies. And I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about what that means. And so when we think about pushing past our fears in order to uplevel, a lot of the times our fears are holding us back. Right? So our fears, especially if we're making decisions based off of our past and our past circumstances, then we're not actually bringing ourselves closer to what we want for our future. We're just recreating our past. And I want to say that again, because I think this is so important. This is literally the one thing that separates successful people from people who aren't as successful, is making decisions based off of where you have been versus making decisions based on where you want to go. Okay, so making decisions based on where you have been from a business perspective looks a little bit like this. Well, I haven't had any clients and I have been posting content, or maybe I did sign up for this small course, but I didn't get more clients from that. So therefore, based on my past experiences and my past circumstance, where, I only really make $2,000-$3,000 a month. So based on off of all of those past circumstances, I need to make a decision that is going to help me to stay where I am and protect what I already have. Right. And so in that moment, you make a decision based off of, I have invested in something before. It didn't really go very well. And I only have X amount of money that I make on a consistent basis. So I'm going to make a decision that's going to protect what I have. Because if I make a decision based on where I want to go, and if it doesn't work out, it's going to bring me back here. So you're basically telling yourself, well, I might as well not try. Right? And I think a lot of people don't realize this. When you're making decisions that way, you are telling yourself, okay, well, it's not even worth it for me to try. It's not worth it for me to risk. I need to protect what I have. Versus when you try to make decisions based on where you want to go in business, it might look something like this. Okay, well, yes, this thing didn't work out, or yes, I purchased this course and it didn't work out the way I wanted it to, but this new one is different. I know it's different because of the support it has. I know it's different because now I'm a more intelligent and more savvy and wiser person as a result of that past investment. Or I know in my heart that I can do this. Now I have the drive. Now I have the momentum. Now is my time. I'm going to decide that this is going to work for me. And I really want to do this, and I really want to invest in this because I see myself 6 months from now getting fully booked. I see myself a year from now hitting 6 figures. I see all of these things in my future, but the only way that's going to happen is if I make this decision right now to risk what I know was true from before and to rewrite my script. And when you make a decision based on where you want to go, automatically you put yourself in that trajectory. You put yourself on that path to where you want to go versus making decisions on where you were. You make decisions based on where you were and where you are, and you continue to be where you were and where you are. You make your decisions based on where you want to go. And all of a sudden, now you have propelled yourself forward months, years in the future just by making that decision. So here's where this becomes messy, when we're not just simplifying it in this way. Our fears and our resistance around upleveling, there's one big part of that is investing in our businesses. Money is a huge thing for a lot of people. Money is so charged for so many people that they hold on to it with dear might. And money doesn't like that. Money loves circulation. But money is one piece of this upleveling puzzle. And so I will give you an example, especially one related to one of my recent conversations that I had with a client, where she was still trying to hold on to victim mode in a lot of her family relationships. And so what would end up happening is there would be this relationship, there would be this really difficult person in her family, and she would react to that really difficult person in her family. She'd constantly find herself reacting, constantly find herself trying to change that person, constantly gossiping about that person, complaining about that person, and letting that person's negativity take control of her life and truly take control of her happiness. And so in a lot of our sessions, she'd just be like, okay, well, this person is really difficult. I really don't like them. They're annoying. They just set me back an entire day because now I have this situation with them where it's this like huge family battle, and now I can't concentrate on my business. It's their fault. Right? Isn't it always everyone else's fault? Right? When we are not working on ourselves, of course, everything is always everyone else's fault. And yeah, this person might be a terrible person, right? They might have a lot of their own issues. But in this specific coaching session, instead of saying, oh yeah, that person has their issues, what I really tried to do is focus on my client and my client's issues with that person and why she had to be so reactionary with that person. It's her personal choice, right? If someone around you is being really, really difficult with you, it is your choice whether or not you want to make that ruin your day. It is your choice whether or not you want to say, okay, I'm really trying to control that person or change that person. Why can't that person change? You can't change them. We cannot change other people. We can only change the way that we react to other people. And so when we don't negatively charge ourselves with other people's negative charges, that's when we're truly set free. When we can tell ourselves, okay, that person says that the sky is green, but I know that the sky is blue, but it's okay if they say that the sky is green because that doesn't have anything to do with me. They can tell me that I'm wrong for thinking that the sky is blue, but that's okay because I know that the sky is blue. They can tell me I'm wrong. That's okay. I know what I am. I know what I'm worth, and I know my intelligence. And that is a very, very emotionally mature thing to do. Not all of us have the capacity to do that. And it doesn't mean that one person's right and another person is wrong. It just means that the right and wrong game doesn't matter anymore. And so when we're pushing past our fears in order to uplevel, a lot of that upleveling is also going to have us take a look at our ego and take a look at where our ego is telling us that there's one right and there's one wrong, or that we need to spend so much time on this one situation trying to overanalyze it or trying to change other people. That's really just distracting us from hitting a bigger level in our lives, from really taking that same energy and putting it towards something that's going to create so much more momentum. And eventually, not to mention, it's going to inspire that one person that you want to change. So by you trying to change them, you're not going to be able to change them. But by really embodying the best version of yourself and leading with your own dignity, leading with your own integrity, that's when you're going to create the most change in the world. It's not by overanalyzing and micromanaging people. This is one small piece of pushing past your fears to uplevel, but it is one of those pieces that just kind of comes up. And so I'd invite you to examine if and when you are doing that for yourself, and how much of your own energy you are putting towards other things that are really none of your business and really have nothing to do with you and what you want in this world. Because that is a huge thing. For us to acknowledge those things and for us to move forward, regardless of what other people have to think about us, or regardless of what other people want to create in our lives, regardless of other people's dramas, that is a really freeing thing. And that's an incredibly mature thing to do. Most people don't do that. Most people will not do that, which is why it's so normal for us to behave that same way, because no one else has ever showed us how to behave differently. No one has ever showed us how to behave with the highest level version of ourselves. And so a lot of this pushing past the fears to uplevel isn't just about, feeling the fear and doing it anyways, although that is really important. It's also about acknowledging the fact that our fears can be there, but our fears aren't just about, us being really, really afraid to do something. Our fears are also being afraid to confront parts of ourselves that need to grow, that need to develop, that need to mature. Because we have been processing and living with those parts of ourselves for so long, and they've gotten us so far within our own lives that for us to let go of them, it's like letting go of a part of ourselves. It's letting go of a piece of yourself that you needed to survive for so long, right? Even another example here is feeling like you need to work so hard. A part of upleveling, especially a part of upleveling into a multiple six-figure business owner, is the fact that you have to understand that you can't do everything alone. And by trying to do everything and by trying to work really, really hard, you're actually going to be a lot less productive because you're not focusing on your zone of genius. Today's episode is brought to you by the Rapid Expansion Method, which is the proven 90-day program to help you sign on consistent higher paying clients and hit that six-figure mark in your business with more leadership, alignment, and flow. So if you are either brand spanking new to your service-based business, or you are having trouble breaking the 2 to 3K mark per month, you need this program. We go all in on exact strategies that you need to sell yourself online and to book out your services solid. Find out what social media strategies are the best for you and your niche, while also being surrounded by brilliant female entrepreneurs who are go-getters just like you and are committed to your success. You can find out more about this incredible program at sarahjlarero.com/the Rapid Expansion Method, or go ahead and look over into our show notes for more information. In order for us to push past those fears, we have to confront those areas of ourselves that haven't grown into the leaders that we want to become. And that is messy. It's not just uncomfortable. At times it can be incredibly painful. And so for me in my business, when I was kind of around consistent 3 to 5K months, I really, at that specific moment in time, before that, I didn't want 10K months. I didn't want anything bigger than that. But there was one specific point in time where I knew that I wanted to hit the next level. And a part of my fear and a part of my resistance there was hiring a new team member, or hiring my first team member actually at that time. And it felt so greedy and rude and unnecessary of me. Because I was thinking to myself, well, what makes you think that you can afford that type of person? What makes you think that you are even worth having someone else work on your team? What do you mean team? You're just a person who's on the internet selling coaching. What do you mean team? And so that was my negative Nancy in my head. And in order for me to really overcome that, what I needed to overcome is this idea that I needed to work really, really hard all of the time on my business. And in fact, I remember when I hired her, my husband said, well, if you're hiring her for 20 hours a week, you need to make sure that you're not putting those 20 hours of your work in anymore. You want to make sure that you're not just filling up that work just to have busy time, just to have time where you feel like you're working. And it was really hard for me at first to not put in those extra 20 hours a week of busy time. Of course, I did put extra hours into my work week, but of things that were of value, not of me trying to do busy work just so that I can justify the fact that I was going to hire an assistant. Another fear that I had to overcome when I was growing to six figures and when I had this dream of hitting six figures, which I had no idea I was going to hit it in my first year of coaching, but I guess that's another story. I knew that I wanted it, and I knew that in order for me to get there, I needed to become a lot more visible. But in order for me to become a lot more visible, I was going to have to invest a lot more in my business. And I could have decided at that specific moment in time, okay, nope, I'm going to stay exactly where I am. I know how to create 3 to 5K months. I'm just going to stay right here. Or I could have told myself, okay, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I trust that these next investments are going to get me to where I want them to get me to. And I decided to make decisions based on where I wanted to go and not where I was. And that is how I created my first 10K month and then consistent 10K months right after that. When I was stuck, and yes, you can be stuck at six figures, but when I felt like I was stuck at six figures, which was, such a great place to be stuck, right? Like, who doesn't want to be stuck at six figures? If anyone's listening to this, I'm assuming that most of you have probably not hit that place in your business yet, or maybe you've just barely hit that place in your business and you're really excited about it. Being stuck at that place at sometimes was frustrating because I really wanted to uplevel. I was doing all of my journaling, I was doing all of my manifestations and all of those things and kind of trying to call it in. But when I was presented with opportunities for me to uplevel, I would say no to them. I'd be like, nope, I can't afford that. No, I can't do that. And that's exactly why those opportunities didn't come in. Another thing that I had to really face, though, when I was trying to uplevel to multiple six figures was the fact that I was presented this opportunity. I remember this so clearly. I was on the beach. It was January of 2020. And I was on the beach. I was on a holiday with my parents, with my husband, and with our son. And it was just so beautiful. I was having the most amazing time. And I decided to message a brand new mentor and ask her about her services and about her Done For You services. And at that specific point in time, I knew that that's what I had to do. I knew that I had to stop playing small. And it was an investment in my business. One, it was an investment in my business. And I think two, another piece of resistance there was I had to get over the fear of other people not liking me. And trust me, when I got even more visible to multiple six figures, there were a lot more people who didn't like me. And for me personally, I always say, but I'm such a likable person, right? Like, why would someone not like me? But it's okay. People don't like you. People don't like me. People don't like you. I don't like people either. And that's totally fine. Some people feel the need to voice that. And it's not like I just had a ton of people who are just like, ew, you're disgusting. I hate you, or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. But for someone like me, who's a total people pleaser, and to go from, having maybe a negative comment maybe once a month during my six figures, to go to multiple six figures and have that double and sometimes triple, that was really hard. It was really hard for me to experience. And I knew that was something that I had to get over and overcome and really embody the leader inside of me to overcome that. And so it was twofold for me when I was really up-leveling into multiple six figures. It was, one, I need to make these investments that feel really scary to me. And they're always going to feel scary, no matter if you're at 5K months, 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, these new investments, especially because at each level, the investment level is also so much higher. It's really scary. It's really scary to confront that. It's really scary to confront the whole, okay, well, do I protect what I have and keep myself where I am? Or do I really make decisions based on where I want to go and trust that that is the right decision? It's always going to come down to that. And it's always going to feel really, really scary. And so when I made those decisions back in, I think it was February of 2020, it took about a month. Sometimes it doesn't come right away, but it took about a month. And then my income just started doubling. My income started doubling. Yes, I started getting a little bit more negative comments or negative feedback because I was ultimately reaching so many more people. But my income more than doubled within that year. And was it uncomfortable? Yeah. But it was also quite painful. You know, it's really painful to have to go through all of that. It's really painful to have to go through those tears, especially that first month after I had invested in this and it wasn't quite happening as quick as I wanted it to. But then the second month, it was like, boom, everything came full circle. And I really did have to push back past so much of my own resistance with all of that. And then boom, things started happening because I became uncomfortable. I went through the pain. And even right now, as I uplevel even more in my business, as I'm reaching a new stage where we're working on things that are so exciting, but so scary, I find myself having to work on things. But some of the things are the same, but some of the things are also really different. I'm now working with a new life coach, and a lot of the things that we are discussing are my need to be liked by other people, but also why I don't like myself, or why at times I don't like myself, and where that truly comes from, and how I can reprogram that. A lot of that is self-love based. And it's not that I don't love myself. It's that I've never had those figures, those characters as a child who showed me what self-love really looked like. And so I got here by still not having quite looked into that as much as I could. I got to multiple 6 figures in my business without really needing to touch on that. And I think for a lot of you, it's going to be really similar. One of my clients, she got to, 5 to 10K months without having to look at this, without having to look at where her energy was being drained. But in order for her to truly step into that 6-figure version of herself, that part of her is going to have to go. And for me to step into my next level, I need to let go of that self-hatred. I need to let go of that area of myself that's still not accepting who I am. And that's painful, right? Makes me want to cry. Makes me want to cry because I am so used to just kind of brushing that off and saying, well, it's okay. I do like myself. I know that I do. But if I really like myself, then why do these things bother me? Right? That's the real work. And it's painful, and it is not rainbows and butterflies. And sometimes it does not look pretty. It's super messy. But once I work through this and once I reprogram this, then for me to get to my next level, I no longer have to face those fears because those fears are going to be almost non-existent. And I think one of the really beautiful parts of all of this is you're never finished working on yourself. There's always another layer. There's always something else that has served you so well in your past that you have to let go of. And maybe something that served you so well in your past was holding on to each and every penny of your paycheck. Or maybe it was, I just got myself out of debt. Yay. And you have so many spending habits that are so good for people who aren't entrepreneurs. But now you're at a stage where you're like, okay, I want to become an entrepreneur. That mindset served you. It served you to get out of debt. It served you to help you increase your savings. But it's not going to serve you as an entrepreneur because entrepreneurs need to invest in their businesses. You need to put money into your business in order for it to grow. And as I even sit here recording this, I sometimes look back at Sarah 5 years ago and it scares the crap out of me. It scares the crap out of me because I feel like they're totally different people, right? Versus when I was working in my 9 to 5 for 6.5 years, If you were to see the Sarah from the beginning to the Sarah 3 years in or the Sarah 4 years in, I mean, yeah, they were different. I definitely grew and I definitely learned a lot through that experience. And I loved the experience of being where I was. And I was very fortunate to have a really great experience in my 9 to 5. But that area of growth, that phase of growth was nothing like the phase of growth that I have experienced since I quit and since I became an entrepreneur. This growth is just completely next level because entrepreneurship, and especially entrepreneurship when you're doing a personal brand and when you're becoming a leader, really forces you to deal with all of your inner demons, to deal with your dark side, and to deal with all of the things that feel super, super uncomfortable. But once you do deal with them on an investment level and on an internal level, you feel so much more free. And this is a stage in life that I am in right now where so many things that used to bother me and so many things that even bother some of my family members don't bother me because I've done so much internal work that I know that those things aren't even important. I know how to get and stay focused on the goal. I know when I need to invest in my business. I know when I need to do things rather than say that I'm going to try and do them. I know when I just need to say it's going to work and I trust it's going to work and I'm going to go into this investment or I'm going to go into this next chapter knowing it's going to work. I just know when I do those things. I know when it's time for me to make those types of decisions. And the reasons why I know this is because I've pushed past my fears to be able to uplevel this way. I've done so much of the work, and a lot of the work is still going to be painful. Like I said, I'm still going through painful work, working with my life coach and really working on that internal of, do I fully love and accept myself? This is the stage that I'm in. Maybe a few months from now, this won't be the stage I'm in. Maybe I already have done this. But as soon as I have done even just a fraction of this work, and as soon as you invest just that one time, it is so empowering. It just feels like a weight has been lifted off of your shoulders because you're no longer living your life the way that other people want you to live it. You are now living your life on your own terms. And I really do feel like entrepreneurship is the ultimate test of living life on your own terms, both externally in terms of what you're doing, but also internally in terms of what you choose to decide and what you choose to believe. I hope this was good for you. I feel like this was a really deep episode. I'm really excited for you to listen to it. I'm excited to hear your feedback as well. So if you want to give me your feedback, let me know what you loved about this episode. Please send me a DM over at Instagram. It's at Sarah without an H, J Loureiro. So Sarah J Loureiro. And if you loved this episode, please give it some likes, leave a review, hit subscribe, and share it with a friend. It would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. If you enjoy our show and would like the show notes and free goodies about how to grow your online coaching business, head over to sarahjloureiro.com for more information. We hope you'll tune in next time.